Okay, so Fantastic Mr. Fox, based on the book by Roald Dahl. The premise of the film, Mr. Fox is an ex-chicken hunter and decides to go back to his old ways after years of just writing a column in a newspaper, going behind his wife's back and putting others in danger as well as just himself. Great idea for a film. Spoilers going ahead, of course. I'm not spoiler free. I will discuss in-depth things that happen within the film, so if you haven't seen it or you don't want spoilers, go and watch it and then come back here. First off, I think Ash is a great character. Ash is Mr. Fox's son, and he's constantly trying to chase approval from his dad. And not that Mr. Fox is like an evil, kind of abusive dad who just doesn't give his son praise because he thinks he's the top dog. Just because Mr. Fox is quite self-centered, he's quite cocky and doesn't really think about the way his son might be feeling and the way that his actions might be impacting his son. And this gets played off really nicely later in the film when Ash, Mr. Fox's son, goes to try and steal his tail back after Mr. Fox's tail gets blown off, and obviously Mr. Fox finds out and goes ballistic. And then afterwards, Mr. Fox had a nice conversation with him where he explained that when he found out that his wife was pregnant, he was so stressed about who this baby was going to become, and that he's so glad that it's Ash. I love that so much. I love a good father-son bond in a film. And in a film like Fantastic Mr. Fox, it's quite heartwarming, it's nice. The conflict between Mr. and Mrs. Fox is great as well. After he cocks everything up, Mrs. Fox really does call him out and says horrible things like, you know, I like you, Mr. Fox, I like you, but I wish I never married you. And that's really hard hitting. And we can put ourselves in Mr. Fox's shoes and imagine that wouldn't be very nice to hear. But at the end of the day, he's disrupted so much land, so many animals are having their homes dug up because of him, and he has to face consequences for it, and the first consequence is his wife having a massive go at him, and it's really well done, really well executed, and it's just fantastic. He made a promise to her and he didn't deliver, and she called him out on that, and he took responsibility, and that is brilliant. I found it quite jarring how the pacing was really fast at the beginning. We went from like Mr. Fox's old life to a little bit of Mr. Fox's new life to then him going back to his old life, and all three places that he robs happen within like a 10-minute span, and then in the middle the pacing slows down completely. And I understand that was probably intentional, but for me it's quite a jarring watch. I do find that a little bit jarring. I would rather we spend an equal amount of time on the important stuff, and the middle does, I don't want to say drag because it's not too long and it's still entertaining to watch, but I think if we'd have spread some more out at the beginning and then cut out some of the slower bits in the middle, it would have felt more consistent. For me, it felt a little bit inconsistent. Not bad, but inconsistent, and that knocks it down a peg or two for me on my enjoyability. The humour's there as well. Mr. Fox's smile that he does every now and then, he'll just do like a little like smile to the camera or to the people that he's with, and I find that really funny, and just the jokes in general are really good. It's really quite grown up. There's a lot of conversations in here that as a kid I never picked up on because you just wouldn't as a kid, but now I'm like, oh, they're talking about tax and stuff. A criticism I was going to have was at the very beginning we don't find out how they escape the fox trap. Now I didn't write it down because ultimately it doesn't matter, but they do address it later on, and once their home's being dug up, I'm thinking, oh my god, how are they going to get out of this? And then they started to dig. Now at that point my brain didn't piece it together, but later on Mr. Fox confirms that the way they got out of that trap in the beginning was by digging, and I would have felt that was a bit of a cheat had we not seen them dig already. So we get told, you should always show not tell, we get told that they dug their way out, however we'd already seen them dig their way out of another situation, so it felt really satisfying, and that has so many layers, and I'm really, that's stuff that I like in film and TV, is just little undertone bits like that aren't just Deus Ex Machinas, oh they got out because they got out. They do go to the effort to explain it, they tell us, but then our brain pieces together that we have seen it. Rat's death was quite sad. I mean, it's clear that he went bananas and was probably an alcoholic because he'd been sipping on so much cider, but he redeemed himself at the end. Him and Mr. Fox clearly have a history, and I don't think it was always negative. And I think it's really nice that in his dying words he told them where Christopherson was, where to get them, and I was quite sad. I remember him being in way more scenes than, he was only in 2 scenes of the whole film, and I feel like he was, when I remembered the film, he was a massive main character, but actually watching it back, he's only in 2 scenes, and one of them he dies in. And I was really quite sad. I cared so much for him. He's a really an in-depth character that on the surface just looks like the baddie, but if you think about it, there's more to him than that, and I like that. Like I say, there's great character development throughout the whole film from all the main characters, but mainly, like I say, Ash and Mr. Fox have the most, where they can mess up, but they can come together, take responsibility for their actions. They both take responsibility for their actions, and I find that so satisfying in a film aimed at children. A lot of people I know are easily freaked out by this film, my mum included. She hates this film. She finds it quite creepy because all the foxes look a bit like taxidermy, and all the animals look like taxidermy, and I think that's probably what they were going for, but I find it quite cool. I find the way it's made quite cool. I find the art style of it really, really cool. And I think the way they feel about it is the way I feel about a film like The Cat in the Hat and The Grinch. For me, the way that the faces look on the Whovians and the way that the cat's face looks really off-putting, and it's part of the reason why I don't ever watch those films, is because I think there's some trauma there from when I was a kid. I hate those films. I hate the way they look, and I can understand why someone would have this with this film, but I really like it. The wolf scene is the best scene in the whole film. I love it. As someone who writes stuff myself, I keep bringing it up. Beep, 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 beep. I write TV, and I've started to write a film. I've never written a film before, but I am starting to write one. I've written feature-length TV episodes. But anyway, regardless, this is such a layered scene. Mr. Fox pulling up on his moped. He looks into the distance and he sees a wolf on the hill. It's stated multiple times, I think 4 or 5 times throughout the film, that he has a phobia of wolves. They are a bit out there. I think they were definitely trying to like build up for this, but they always seemed a little bit like out of the blue. But anyway, it's stated he has a phobia of wolves, and at the end, he literally accepts the wolf. He accepts, we're different, but go on, wish him luck, boys, and the wolf goes off. Great. It's also stated throughout the film 3 or 4 times that Mr. Fox is a wild animal. However, he speaks English, he wears clothes, and he communicates with actual humans in the film. That's not like he actually speaks to them when he's under the manhole cover and he says, "Have you got the boy?" And they reply, "Yes, of course we do." He is speaking to humans. He's not a wild animal, but this wolf is. This wolf doesn't wear clothes. It doesn't speak English. It doesn't communicate with anyone. Mr. Fox can communicate with humans, but not with this wolf, because he isn't a wild animal. There is a divide in the floor between the snow and the grass. Mr. Fox's land, the wolf's land. Separated. And it's such a layered scene, and it genuinely, the music, the score, everything, I felt quite emotional watching it. I think it's such a great scene. The wild animal being able to speak to humans, but not an actual wild animal. And in the end, he lets it go. He says goodbye to his wild side, he waves off the wolf, and he goes off. Wow. That scene alone makes this film an amazing film. It's great family fun. The ending isn't actually too happy either. Like, it's happy, but it's not like happy ever after. They're still on the run. Boggers, Bunce and Bean are probably still going to try and find them, but they've decided that within themselves, they're content. They're happy. And that's all that matters. And that's what you need from an ending of a kid's film. For the adults, we're still sat there thinking, well, they might just find them again. But that's not the point. The point is these characters have been on a journey. Their story isn't over, but their character development is. And that's where you end the film. And that is perfect. And I love that massively. Fantastic, Mr. Fox. I've rated here a 4 out of 5. I might bump it up to 4.5 the more I talk about it. It is just that middle section does feel a bit long and samey and yeah, but ultimately it's a great film. 4.5, take your pick. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you didn't, drop a dislike. The button's there to use, so press whichever one you fancy. Let me know what you think of Fantastic Mr. Fox in the comments, and subscribe if you're brand new. I post here every couple of days, every couple of weeks, talking about film and TV, so if that's your thing, stick around. I'd love to have you. Thank you for watching. I've been Sam. I'll see you later, and ta-ra.